So we'll start off with the Capitals and Bruins. So at the time of recording this, the Capitals have a 1-0 series lead over Boston. But Lepore, what are your thoughts on this series?
Yeah, this is one of those series where you look at the two teams, you look at what we've seen from these two teams, not only this season, but in seasons, recent seasons. And it's kind of an unfortunate situation because this is not a first round series. If someone would have said in a normal format that Washington would have played Boston in the conference finals, we'd totally believe it. These are two teams that are deep. They're two teams that like to play quote unquote playoff hockey, and they have a lot of ingredients. Where I have the edge here is I have the edge to the Capitals. And like you said, we're one game in and the Capitals did win game one, and that wouldn't affect my decision even if they had lost game one. But I think you see more offensive depth from the Caps compared to the Bruins. There's a lot of pressure on Taylor Hall, that Krejci Taylor Hall combination, and I don't know if that can hold up in a 7-game series against a team like the Capitals. But I think this may be the series that I'm most excited for as a neutral, because let these two teams go to war. Like, these are two teams that are hated, like say, the Tom Wilson situation or like Brad Marchand. Everyone hates Brad Marchand. So let's just sit back, enjoy the show, enjoy a good, long, hard-fought series. As again, the Bruins lost game one, but it was overtime, and no one's expecting a Bruins team to roll over, both because of the way their team is built, their player personalities, and their coaching. But I just have Washington being too much for this Bruins team. And even talking to a lot of Bruins fans, like, they still like their team. They think they have a good team, but they kind of feel like that window is closing, like that championship window is closing, and that it is time to move on from some things. Like, Krejci's contract's up. They're probably not going to re-sign him. To see what they do, it's going to be interesting. Taylor Hall is obviously a UFA. Maybe they fill that space up with Taylor Hall. I mean, you're going to hear their name when it comes to Jack Eichel. I mean, that's a fact. So it'll be interesting to see what the Bruins do from here, especially if they do go out in as early as the first round. But the Capitals is too much over 7 games. I have a hard-fought series, a lot of overtimes, a lot of one-goal games. Washington in 6 is what I have.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, as I mentioned, we're already 1 game into this series, and the big thing with Boston, I mean, that Taylor Hall addition at the trade deadline was huge for them.
Bananas,
and he's been awesome. Incredible. With the Boston Bruins, and I've run down some of the advanced numbers. I don't have them updated, but through the first 16 games of the Bruins, they were outscoring teams 15-1 with Taylor Hall on the ice at 5-on-5. So he was a huge boost to that second line and that secondary scoring with David Krejci and Smith. So like that's so big for Boston because, as we know, I mean, their top line is ridiculous with Marchand, Bergeron, and Pasternak. And if that team could just find a way to get some secondary scoring, and even from guys from like Jake DeBrusk, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You know what, Lepore? I got the Bruins, man. I got Bruins in 7.
Nice. I like it.
Series. So, and I know history isn't kind to the team that loses game 1 of a playoff series, just like mathematically. I think teams that lose game 1 end up losing the series like 60-something% of the time or whatever.
But it was in Washington, whatever. Like,
exactly, right? Yeah. So I got Bruins in 7. I just really like the makeup of that team. Brad Marchand had an incredible season this year.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, a lot of it's going to come down to goaltending, like it will in basically every single series.
Yeah,
but
hot take.
But it's like you said, Lepore. Like these are two like really good teams, and this is not a typical first round matchup, so it should be a lot of fun.